Y'all want to see a really good Lifetime movie? Well, it isn't this one. In Arkansas, young Keisha informs her mom, Daisy, how she's bullied in school for not having a father. Daisy hands Keisha a Bible and reminds her that she has a mom and God, which is all that matters. 16 years later, Daisy dies, and Keisha has no money to bury her mom. When Keisha opens the old Bible, she notices that the bookmark that has been there since she was a kid is an Atlanta business card for Elijah Wilson Trucking Company. She also finds her mom's letter in between its pages, telling Elijah about Keisha and confessing that she lied about terminating her pregnancy. Her last wish was for him to meet Keisha so that she could have the father she always wanted. Keisha throws the Bible with the letter, but the nurse she was talking to seconds before picks it up. Keisha looks up Elijah online and learns that he has retired. His daughter, Gabrielle Wilson Flores, is a marketing guru and CEO of a huge PR company. Super envious of Gabrielle's life, Keisha forges Daisy's letter and sends it to Elijah so that she can meet them. Gabrielle is married to Mauricio Flores, and they have a daughter named Bella. Mauricio crossing his legs like that makes him look like he plays for another team. After receiving the letter, Elijah apologizes to Gabrielle for cheating on his wife when Gabrielle was still very young and says he wants to meet Keisha. Although Gabrielle is having a hard time processing the truth, she simply says that she'll support him. Gabrielle informs her pregnant business partner and best friend Reagan about what just happened. After they find Keisha's record of arrest and prosecution, Reagan volunteers to deal with Keisha so Gabrielle can stay and take care of the business. Meanwhile, Keisha been living in her car and gets very jealous when she sees her sister's posts. Then she gets ready for work in a nasty bathroom. Reagan arrives at the salon Keisha works at and tells Keisha that her sister and father Elijah want to meet her. Reagan gives Keisha her number so Keisha can call her when she's ready. Keisha informs her friend and accomplice, Buck, about Reagan's visit, and Buck, who's excited about all the money they're going to get, reminds her that all they need is their bank information.
I'm going to the ATL, and I'm gonna take what's mine.
I guess her Empire singing career didn't blow up. Reagan calls Gabrielle and tells her that she doesn't trust Keisha. With Reagan's experience as a real housewife, I would have listened to Reagan's intuition. Keisha's old landlady said she skipped out on 4 months' rent, and her recent landlord said that she has been a little off ever since she lost her baby, who would have been the same age as Bella. However, Gabrielle gives her some grace since she just lost her mom. Reagan then informs Gabrielle that Keisha had just texted her, agreeing to meet them. Mauricio expresses feeling uneasy about the Keisha situation. Gabrielle admits she wishes that it's not her reality, but she wants to support her dad. Mauricio then tries to hop on her, but she runs away. Mauricio is so fuan with them lips. The next day, Reagan and Keisha arrive at Elijah's house, and Elijah's first words to Keisha are, "I'm sorry." He hugs her, and Gabrielle introduces herself. When Elijah learns that Gabrielle is planning a paternity test, he firmly refuses to do it, even though Keisha is willing to do it. Since Elijah doesn't have an extra room, the Temu Nialong offers to host Keisha. Gabrielle brings Keisha to her house, and Mauricio gets upset that Gabrielle didn't consult him before making a decision. Meanwhile, Keisha is very impressed by the mansion. While taking a bath, Keisha tells Buck that she'll start looking for account numbers tomorrow. The next day, while the entire family is in the kitchen, Keisha sneaks into Gabrielle's home office and finds a file with their bank details. After taking a photo of it and sending it to Buck, she finds Elijah's last will, which appoints Gabrielle as executor since she's his sole heir. Upset, she takes a photo of it. She then gets emotional seeing Bella's birth certificate as she thinks about the child she lost. Afterwards, she walks into the kitchen, and while Mauricio dances with his daughter, this triggers Keisha and she leaves the room. She calls Buck to tell him that she's going to have a paternity test so that she will be added to the will. Then Gabrielle goes to Keisha to bond with her over their shared grief of their separate mamas. Gabrielle then says Keisha is part of the family. When Keisha joins the family for breakfast, she secretly takes Elijah's coffee stirrer, which she later submits for a paternity test. On their way to church, Keisha asks the couple what they do, to which Gabrielle shares that Mauricio is an accountant and she and Reagan started their own PR agency. When she asks about how they started their business, Gabrielle shares that Reagan's family funded it. Keisha is pleasantly surprised when Gabrielle shares that the rapper Big Justice is one of their clients. But Mauricio makes a comment that makes it clear that he doesn't like him. She says she's a fan, but criticizes how old school the PR for Justice's sneakers is. Keisha suggests that instead of one big drop, they should have a scavenger hunt for hidden sign sneakers and have Justice give hints on where to find them. Hearing this, Gabrielle quickly texts Reagan the idea. Right before church, Keisha bonds with Bella and begs Keisha to fix her hair sometime. After getting a call from the clinic about paternity test results, Elijah confronts Gabrielle for getting one behind his back, but she denies doing so. Keisha admits sending a sample, but lies and says Reagan must have set it up. Elijah apologizes to Keisha for the ruckus and assures her that she can come to him for anything. When she shares that she was evicted, owes her landlord money, her credit is a mess, and that she can't afford to bury Daisy, Elijah immediately gives her money. Feeling protective of his home and family, Mauricio tells Gabrielle that he thinks the Keisha situation is happening too fast. He points out how suspicious it is for Keisha to be asking about work, money, and justice. But Gabrielle thinks Keisha is harmless. However, when Gabrielle checks on Bella, she is disturbed upon witnessing Keisha calling the sleeping Bella her precious daughter before kissing her head. Oh, hell no. You have money to get her Oz into a hotel. The next day, Elijah apologizes to Gabrielle, saying Keisha made him understand where she's coming from. After Elijah, Gabrielle, and Keisha learn that the paternity test is 99.9% a match, a happy Elijah takes his daughters to the steakhouse to celebrate. After Elijah asks Keisha to move to Atlanta to be with them and offers to buy her own car, Gabrielle offers her a spot in her company. Keisha tearfully accepts, surprised by their generosity. When Keisha calls Buck and cancels the plan because the family is treating her well, Buck warns her not to get her hopes up. Despite Keisha receiving a new car and lots of clothes, she still gets disappointed because she thinks they're not as nice as Gabrielle's. On her first day at work, she is disappointed to see that her desk is up against a wall in the hallway. Oh, you was living out a car. You should be grateful. Firmly opposing Keisha's employment, Reagan sends Keisha out to get coffee because Reagan doesn't want a sketchy hoe trifling with their business meeting with Justice. When Keisha later crashes the meeting to hand the coffees out, she feels betrayed upon realizing that Gabrielle and Reagan are pitching her scavenger idea without her knowledge. Justice tells Gabrielle that even if he funded her company, he was starting to doubt her. He says he loves the idea, and Gabrielle, who sees how hurt Keisha looks, tells him that it's Keisha's idea. Keisha excuses herself and cries in the bathroom. She then vows to take everything Gabrielle has and calls Buck to resume the plan. Soon, Mauricio catches Keisha in Gabrielle's walk-in closet, wearing her dress, taking pictures, and acting out a scenario where she's talking to social media gossip queen Veda. She immediately sobs and says that she just wants to feel good because she's been failing to make Gabrielle happy. The gaslighting tears is crazy. Keisha casually mentions that Justice is the company's original investor, shocking Mauricio because he didn't know. When she says Gabrielle is protective of Justice, Mauricio comforts Keisha like a little sister. But when the hoe hugs him, she got the same eyes I get when I get dicked down. He tells her to ask Gabrielle's permission first next time and to take the dress off so she won't get in trouble. One morning, Keisha is making cookies for Bella's bake sale and taking the role of mommy. Mauricio points out it's the first time Bella is bringing homemade cookies. Feeling stifled, Gabrielle says ice cream is on her during the weekend.
Hey, Gabrielle, stop making promises you can't keep, okay?
One night, Keisha drugs Gabrielle's coffee and steals her presentation for the Justice meeting. The next day, a frantic Gabrielle arrives at the office, nervous that missing the meeting would permanently cut their ties with Justice. Reagan informs her that Keisha did the presentation and the meeting went well. Although confused as to how Keisha pulled it off, Gabrielle thanks Keisha for saving her. When Gabrielle tells Mauricio that Keisha is trying to take her place, he informs her about finding Keisha in her closet and asks her not to get upset because Keisha is just trying to fit in and get her approval. He brings up how she's always prioritizing her ex, Justice. Ex? The tea is spilled. He confronts her for lying to him about who funded her business, then tells Gabrielle that she should be grateful because Keisha cleaned up her mess. During a celebratory brunch, Justice shares with Keisha that he was so in love with Gabrielle for years and they were going to get married. Shortly after, Gabrielle is shocked to learn that the sneaker release had been moved to a closer date without her knowledge, and Justice appoints Keisha to lead the campaign. Keisha plans a premiere party with a pop-up store and invites Veda. When Gabrielle and Keisha get home, Mauricio informs Gabrielle that there's a significant amount of money missing from their account. Since $500 has been withdrawn daily for a few weeks, it's under investigation, but he needed to close their accounts and they can only hope that they get their money back. After Keisha mentions that Justice was with them at brunch, Mauricio privately confronts Gabrielle about everything she has kept from him. He asks if Justice gave her back shots when they broke up 6 years ago, a question he has already asked before, and says he's starting to think that Bella isn't his. At the launch party, Veda publicly asks Justice if it's true that Bella is his daughter. When she asks if Gabrielle is the one that got away, Justice says, "A gentleman never tells," pissing off Mauricio, who punches him. In private, Mauricio demands that Gabrielle drop Justice to fix their marriage. When she says her company would cease to exist without him and refuses to choose, Mauricio breaks up with her. Shortly after, Keisha tries to kiss Mauricio, but he rejects her. What a trifling hoe. But I don't blame her because my mouth would memorize all of Mauricio's veins. When Justice threatens to sue Mauricio, Gabrielle says he provoked Mauricio and may have cost her her marriage. Justice apologizes and shares that Keisha made him think that Bella could be his. Shortly after, Gabrielle confronts Veda, who spills and says Keisha has been giving her information. Meanwhile, at home, Keisha tells Bella that she can call her Mama. Gabrielle calls Reagan to inform her that she was right about Keisha all along. Realizing she left Bella at home with Keisha, Reagan quickly drives back. After Keisha, posing as Gabrielle, sends out an email telling all GRMA employees that she's transferring all clients to Keisha, Reagan arrives.
Hurry up! Open this door!
The real Candy Burris is coming out. Reagan confronts her. Keisha denies everything, and while fighting, she accidentally pushes Reagan down the stairs, rendering her unconscious. Scared, she immediately escapes with Bella and calls 911 for Reagan. Secretly meeting with Keisha, Elijah convinces Keisha to surrender, assuring her that he'll be by her side as she faces the consequences of her actions. After Keisha returns Bella, the cops arrest her. Mauricio and Gabrielle reconcile, and Reagan recovers. Luckily, her baby is okay. When Elijah and Gabrielle visit Keisha in prison, Gabrielle says she wants nothing to do with the liar. Then Keisha tearfully informs them that she told her lawyer that she wants to stay in jail. Feeling guilty about everything she did, she confesses to forging Daisy's letter. But Elijah shows her the Bible she threw away, saying a nurse sent it with Daisy's original letter in it. He tells her Daisy wanted the same thing, and they agree to heal as a family. And even Gabrielle forgives her. Then they pray together. Hell nah, I rebuke that evil. Let that little trifling hoe rot in jail because there is something wrong with her mentally. What did you guys think of this one?
If you like this video, make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications because YouTube isn't recommending my videos. So, if you like to watch more foolishness, you can click here or here.